The Connecticut Blue Blood. He walks in like a country club grew legs. Velvet entrance coat, lace cuffs, posture so upright it could hold a candelabra. The vignettes play like finishing school. How to hold a fork, how not to sweat in public, and then a pedigree to close the lesson like proper punctuation. He treats a valet like a display piece until WrestleMania 12, when Sable catches Mark Merrow's eye and Hunter's trophy suddenly has a new shelf. December 95 brings the dirtiest highlight, the hog pen match with Henry O. Godwin. He wins, yes, and still ends up face first in slop while the crowd howls. That's the first crack in the polish. Then comes the bill you can't kayfabe around, the MSG curtain call in May 96. Hugs on stage, heat backstage, and the push hits a wall. No King of the Ring, months of mid-card penance, and a WrestleMania 12 sprint where Ultimate Warrior folds him in about a minute. But here's the pivot that matters. He doesn't get louder, he gets colder. The bows shrink. The smile hardens. The pedigree tightens. The blue blood stops feeling like a cartoon and starts reading like a mask for a patient technician who hates wasted motion. He learns to cheat without blinking and to lose without flinching, which is worse for opponents because indifference is a tougher tell than rage. By summer, he's already testing the edge of this persona, buying time, counting camera beats, and filing slights like evidence. Now that's why this first skin lingers, because the mud, the manners, and the punishment don't break him. They tune him. Watch the eyes when the camera finds him after a setback. No panic, just math. Aristocracy was the costume. Patience was the weapon. Every arrow toward Degeneration X starts here. In a ring where etiquette becomes insult and the most dangerous thing about the snob isn't the curtsy, it's the clock he's learning to control. DX Degenerate. Neon green X's, leather, and a crotch chop that turns a family show into detention. With Shawn Michaels at his side and China standing like a granite warning sign, Triple H turns sarcasm into a main event. Post-Montreal, authority is the enemy, and mockery is the blade. On December 22, 1997, HBK defends the European title by lying down so Hunter can pin him. It's not just a winky finish, it's a mission statement that rules exist to be humiliated. After WrestleMania 14, Michaels back sends him home, and Hunter declares himself general, recruits X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws, and paints Monday nights in juvenile warfare. The WCW invasion in a camo Jeep with a fake cannon isn't a siege so much as performance art. The show calls it a tank, the crowd calls it a pop, and Turner's door still stays shut. Every week is a new middle finger, the State of the Union that censors itself between beeps, locker room pranks, parodies of rivals that got laughs then, and side-eyes now. The slippery trick is that they behave like villains but harvest cheers because the audience hates management more than mischief. Triple H figures out that Heat and Pop can wear the same jacket if the punchline hits the boss. He becomes a maestro of that tightrope, cheap shots framed as anti-corporate protest, sophomore gags delivered with dead calm timing. DXHR notice. Discipline the subscribe button and file your comment. Failure results in 2 words on your record. Under the glow sticks and t-shirt cash, you can already see the boardroom tyrant he'll grow into. It's the same mind, just in camo instead of a suit. DX teaches the crowd to become accomplices. When they chant "suck it," they're not condemning the act, they're co-signing it, paying in noise for more rule-breaking next week. That's the moral twist. The pop is the alibi, the prank is the plan, and the kid in detention just learned how to run homeroom. The McMahon-Helmsley regime. He trades velvet for boardroom steel and turns marriage into a finishing hold. November 29, 1999. Raw. He plays the Vegas drive-thru wedding tape and reveals he married Stephanie while Test was still lacing his boots. 2 weeks later at Armageddon, she smiles past her father and steps to Hunter's side. The boos don't stop for months. The sledgehammer becomes punctuation, the water spit entrance a coronation, and the game talks like a CFO of cruelty. Every promo a quarterly report about who gets buried next. He doesn't just win the title, he makes poster boys apologize for believing in happy endings. January 2000's street fight with Cactus Jack paints the Royal Rumble in blood and splinters. February's Hell in a Cell retires Foley after a jaw-dropped fall through the roof, and a pedigree that sounds like a gavel. WrestleMania 2000 completes the thesis. 4-way, a McMahon in every corner, and Hunter becomes the first heel to leave a WrestleMania World Title main event still champion. If you want cheap heat distilled, circle April 17, 2000. Chris Jericho wins the belt on Raw, the crowd explodes, then the regime bullies the decision into a reversal before the credits roll. That's the business model. Give the pop, Steal the belt, sell the rematch. Judgment Day's Iron Man with The Rock is 60 minutes of micromanager sadism. Undertaker's return flips the score, and by King of the Ring, the chessboard is so rigged, The Rock has to pin Vince himself to pry the title loose. The constant is Stephanie's smile at ringside. Part love story, part hostile takeover, a kayfabe merger that turns nepotism into a storyline superpower. The moral twist is ugly and effective. He proves you can be the engine of the show and the reason fans boo the show, but sometimes in the same segment. People don't just hate him, they hate how much time they spend hating him. By early 2001, the crown gets heavier, the alliances shift, and the two-man power trip looms. But the regime leaves a blueprint modern villains still photocopy. Marry the brand, control the calendar, and make the hero feel like he beat the company, not the wrestler. The cerebral assassin. Short hair, black leather, a pace slow enough to feel like cross-examination. Cerebral assassin isn't a nickname, it's a method statement. SummerSlam 2002 sets the tone. After an unsanctioned war, he caves Shawn Michaels in with a sledgehammer and smiles like he just solved a math problem. 2 weeks later, September 2002, Eric Bischoff hands him the new World Heavyweight title. Hunter doesn't blush, he calibrates. Rob Van Dam sprints at him and finds air. Unforgiven ends with a flare swerve and a long exhale from a crowd that knows clever beats clean. Survivor Series brings the first elimination chamber. Michaels wins, but Hunter wrestles half the match holding his throat after RVD's boot dents his windpipe, and still refuses to give the audience mercy. From there, he turns challengers into case studies. Scott Steiner arrives built like 1993. The Rumble and No Way Out expose a gap between poster and product, and Hunter drags the pace until the boos become part of his strategy. WrestleMania 19 with Booker T is the ugly masterpiece. Weeks of smug needling, then a pedigree, and a slow crawl to the cover that lasts long enough to feel like paperwork getting stamped. The Kane program swerves into the graveyard of taste, and still, the belt stays at the same address. By autumn, he's eyeing Goldberg. At SummerSlam, the big man meets a wall. At Unforgiven, the wall finally cracks and Hunter's reign ends, only for him to blueprint the comeback by December. What makes this run sting isn't the hammer, it's the homework. He breaks babyfaces down to one body part, one mistake, one clause in a contract they didn't read, and he does it without raising his voice. The moral twist is that technical becomes a kind of cruelty. He's not the monster in the closet, he's the manager who locks the closet and leaves you in the meeting. Fans boo the stalling, then realize the stalling is the point. Control masquerading as wrestling. Evolution is warming up offstage, but this is the lab where the tyrant learns the trick. Hold the pace, hold the room, take the gold home. Evolution's godfather. The snob sheds the coat and puts on a suit. With Ric Flair as consigliere, Randy Orton as prodigy, and Batista as silent muscle, Triple H builds a four horsemen for the ruthless aggression era. Limos, tailored blazers, motorheads, line in the sand, and every title treated like an asset. The pitch is simple. Join Evolution and skip the line, or fight Evolution and skip your next 6 weeks. Armageddon 2003 proves the model works. Orton takes the Intercontinental title, Flair and Batista claim the tag titles, and Triple H closes with the World Heavyweight Championship. All the belts in one locker room, Raw becomes a gated community and Hunter holds the keycard. But the math isn't just numbers, it's grooming with an expiration date. Orton becomes a TV-ready star, the legend killer who delivers, until SummerSlam 2004 when he wins the big one from Chris Benoit. The next night, Evolution celebrates, hoists him up, and Hunter flips a thumb from up to down. The beatdown is a mission statement. They make you, then unmake you the second you stop being useful. Unforgiven puts the title back on Hunter, and the memo to every would-be heir is clear. There is no succession plan while the king breathes. Then the camera finds Batista, the slow burn fuse nobody noticed while Orton soaked the spotlight. Managerial gaslighting becomes weekly sport. Hunter calls him a heavy, treats him like a driver, backslaps him through speeches about what's best for the brand. Batista listens, nods, files it away. The contract scene in early 2005 is corporate theater at its nastiest. 2 briefcases, 2 world champions, Triple H smiling as he steers the muscle to SmackDown. Batista reads the room, chooses Raw, plants Hunter through a table, and points at the big gold belt like he's finally speaking the only sentence the boss understands. WrestleMania 21 finishes the thesis. The apprentice breaks the master clean, center ring. Moral twist. Evolution sells you a future while mortgaging your present. He isn't just a champion, he's a portfolio manager of people. Buy low on potential, dump stock the minute it spikes. the Reign of Terror. Fans didn't name it kindly. Reign of Terror is the shorthand for when Triple H put the World Heavyweight title on a leash and taught Monday nights to heel sit. It starts September 2002, when Eric Bischoff hands him the new big gold belt on Raw. He treats the ceremony like calibration, not celebration, and from there, every challenger becomes case law. Shawn Michaels snatches the title inside the first Elimination Chamber at Survivor Series 2002. But a month later at Armageddon, 3 stages of hell, Hunter drags him through a street fight, a cage, and a ladder match until the paperwork says champion again. The Scott Steiner saga is the cautionary tale. Posters promised a monster, the ring revealed a mismatch, and at Royal Rumble and No Way Out 2003, Triple H stretches the pace until the audience's patience is part of his offense. WrestleMania 19 with Booker T adds the slowest crawl in company memory after a pedigree. The finish lands like a stamp on a denied appeal. Then the Kane program veers into tasteless TV and still nets the result that matters. June 23, 2003, Kane unmasks because he lost to Hunter. Goldberg is the name the crowd believes can break the spell. At SummerSlam 2003's Chamber, he mows through bodies until the sledgehammer ends the fairy tale. At Unforgiven, he finally blasts Hunter for the belt. 3 months later, Armageddon returns the gold to the address on the water bottle. Early 2004 is an exercise in retention. A last man standing draw with Shawn at the Royal Rumble keeps the strap where it is. WrestleMania 20 finally pries it loose when Chris Benoit makes him tap in the Garden. Evolution shore-ups follow. Randy Orton is made at SummerSlam, unmade the next night, and Hunter reels the title back in at Unforgiven 2004. A disputed finish forces a vacancy in December. January 2005's Elimination Chamber ends with Triple H raising the belt again, while Batista quietly counts red flags. The look never changes. Black trunks, wet hair, long walk, spit mist, but the blueprint sharpens. Own the clock, demand rematches, turn dusty finish into a budget line. The moral twist is uncomfortable by design. You're not just booing a character, you're booing a scheduling philosophy that keeps hope on backorder. The Authority. He trades leather for a suit and learns the most painful hold in wrestling is corporate policy. August 18, 2013, SummerSlam. Daniel Bryan beats John Cena clean. The roof lifts and Triple H, special referee, drills Bryan with a pedigree so Randy Orton can cash in. That's the birth certificate. From then on, the Authority is a weekly board meeting with fists. Stephanie smiles like a CEO unveiling bad news. Hunter explains that some people are A players, others are B+, and the test is always pass-fail with moving goalposts. Bryan fights back with the YES movement, literally filling the ring with fans on March 10, 2014, until management signs the paperwork for WrestleMania 30. He beats Triple H in the opener, then Batista and Orton in the main event to leave as champion. The Tyrant loses the battle, not the office. They reload. Evolution reunites to crush the Shield in 2014. Instead, the kids sweep them at Payback, and 2 nights later, Seth Rollins turns, chair in hand, pledging himself to the suit and tie machine. From there, the playbook gets cruel and efficient. J&J Security mug the margins. Corporate Kane becomes human HR. Big Show swears loyalty until the next memo says otherwise. Survivor Series 2014 looks like a reckoning. Sting debuts, Team Authority loses, and they're fired. 6 weeks later, they're back, because power never stays gone when it owns stationery. By 2015 to 2016, the statement piece is Triple H himself. He disappears, then returns at number 30 in the 2016 Royal Rumble, dumps Roman Reigns' story into a bin, and raises the WWE title like an asset reclaimed. Roadblock is a tune-up. WrestleMania 32 is the invoice. Reigns spears him out of office for a night, confetti pretending the reset will stick. That's the sting. It shows how much heat lives in paperwork. Titles are props, stipulations are spreadsheets, referees are department heads. The Authority didn't just beat heroes, it made them spend 6 months applying for the chance to be beaten. The part-timer Kingmaker. He stops pretending to be a weekly boss and starts acting like a solar eclipse. Rare, timed, impossible to ignore. August 29, 2016, Raw needs a Universal Champion, and Triple H wanders in like a by the way from the boardroom. Pedigree to Roman Reigns, then? Swerve? Pedigree to Seth Rollins, hand-delivering the coronation for Kevin Owens. He isn't back to grind, he's back to edit. From there, he picks his spots like a matchmaker with a grudge. WrestleMania 33 becomes an unsanctioned referendum on Seth Rollins' future. Hunter loses the vote and pretends that was always the plan. Own the narrative by awarding the victory yourself. When Ronda Rousey debuts a year later, he plays stunt wall and salesman in the same breath, pinballing around the ring so the crossover star feels inevitable. Then nostalgia. Melbourne's Last Time Ever with Undertaker, a costume change art piece with HBK's shaved head as the twist, and a Saudi tag that shreds his pec but hammers home the point. He'll bleed for the spectacle he books himself into. Survivor Series 2017 is corporate theater at its meanest. He pedigrees Kurt Angle, sells outrage to Shane McMahon, then pins him like he's closing an acquisition. By WrestleMania 35, Batista returns for one last dragon to slay, but the game brings a chain, a sledgehammer, and a camera that never leaves his face. The retirement match ends with Hunter's hand raised and Batista's story filed under completed at company discretion. The trick of this era is a calm lie. Every return is framed as for the future, while his fingers curl around the present. Royal Rumble 2016 already taught the lesson. He can materialize at number 30 and turn payroll into plot. So when he marches back to torch Rollins, nobody asks if the arsonist also wrote the safety manual. The moral turn isn't that he wins or loses, it's that he chooses. He anoints Owens and Rollins, makes Rousey look bulletproof, and still arranges the lighting so you remember who granted the night permission to be special. In the part-time era, the final boss isn't across from you. It's the person who decides when the bell rings. 8 masks, 1 lesson. Triple H didn't play the game. He wrote the manual. Boo the villain, never boo the booking. The minute you stop, the belt finds its way back to him.